hello, hello. Hi, good to see all of you. I see some old friends and new. Oh, Kim! Yay! We, I love it. I love it. Just want to let you know that you guys are muted right now, but once we go through our introductions and everyone we get going, we will open it up for anyone who wants to share. We'll welcome hearing from anyone who's here, not just our featured authors. But hi. So officially, I'm Sherry Reichert-Ballou and here to welcome you to the Books That Save Lives Heart Wisdom panel, and still feeling very excited and congratulatory about Brenda and Duncan starting this new venture. So yay! Yeah. Um, so today I'm super excited because we are celebrating Pride, and we have Jodie Anders in her rainbow colored heart shirt, which I love, and Duncan in his fun glasses. Hi, you guys.
Hello.
Before I officially have them say hello and introduce themselves, I was having a little emailing with Jodie yesterday, and she said something, it's very short, that just really touched me that I wanted to share with you to start us off. Jodie said, because we were sort of talking about the importance of this panel and this conversation right now, and what's going on in the world, of course. And Jodie said, everywhere we see oppression and hate, there are folks standing with outstretched arms to welcome others and fight together for a better world. I'm going to read it one more time because I just think it's so important to remember this. Everywhere that we see oppression and hate, there are also folks standing with outstretched arms to welcome others and fight together for a better world. Thank you for saying that, Jodie. I know you were just sending it off in an email that you probably didn't even, craft it, but to me, it touched me and it made me think like this is partly why we're all here together, right? This is what we're doing, is to come together to see, what can we do right now? How can we support? What do we need to know? What do we need to be talking about? So without further ado, let me first say, Jodie, hi, welcome back. I know you've been with us before on Heart Wisdom. It's always good to see you. And as you introduce yourself, if you would also just touch on, I know it's a huge topic, but why is Pride especially important right now?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jodie Anders. I am the co-author of Queer Cheer Affirmations, Activities and Advice for LGBTQ Teens. And I also work a lot in spaces for teens with teaching leadership and confidence. I have hosted a podcast for teens that we talk about those very topics, and just doing different workshops to help promote like self-worth and pride in who you are. um, and pride is always important, right? It's always a time to stand up and say who we are amongst the world. Individuality and our diversity is part of what makes the world grow and tick and, be what we are. But of course, right now we're going through some troubling times. It's rough. And I think that's when we need each other more than ever. That's when we need to stand up more than ever and build community. Community and coming together is how we make change. It's how we can make life better for not just those of us in the LGBTQ community, but for everybody everywhere.
Jodie, thank you. And I know, I'm hoping that we will touch a lot more on building community and participating and how all of us can support that ever-growing community. So I look forward to talking a little bit more about that. Hi, Duncan. Welcome.
Oh, hi, Sherry. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So Duncan is not only the co-founder of Books That Save Lives, but also an author himself, and he is our featured author for this panel.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, I am. The question was, why is Pride more important than ever this year?
That is it. But first, if you would also maybe whatever you want to say as a way of introduction, so we get to know you a little bit.
Well, I have written a lot of books about, they were mental health memoirs. I went through some troubling times when I was young. Brenda can attest to that because we've known each other since then. And my latest book is about a financial recovery that I made throughout my life, where when you start off kind of with almost nothing because you're in the mental health system with, like, maybe if you're lucky, general assistance or SSI as your income. And then I've moved from that to owning a house and a lot of other things. And I thought, well, everybody needs to know this journey. So for a while, was financially coaching people and seeing huge turnarounds in their life with just a few simple fixes. So I put them all together in an ebook called the Miracle Money Book, which was published this morning. So it's not quite out on the ebook platforms yet, but it's a great gift for a recent grad, especially college grad, someone who's just started a new job and is finding themselves like getting a credit card, going immediately into debt, like a lot of us did, and then struggling, because they don't have the priorities right. And I talk about a lot of different things in the book, but it has very little it's tangentially related to pride in the sense that it's the first in a series, and the second book in the series is for people who are stuck in the cash economy, like immigrants, sex workers, other people who don't have access, they're financially discriminated against for different reasons. And that's going to be a Miracle Money book specific to that audience. But I wanted to start off with a bigger platform of just generally, the younger generations that need to learn how to manage their money. But now moving on to your question, why is pride more important than ever this year? I think I would start by saying I saw a video on Instagram that really hit home, where it said that a lot of people in the gay community, or let's say the LGBTQ plus or queer community, are saying, well, he's gone after trans people, my marriage might be next, or I might be next. And the truth is, you're not next. It's us. It's already happened. They're after us. So that's sorry, I'm a bit of a crybaby, but it upsets me a lot to think that our president went to the trouble to call out our community in his speech and say that we're not people, that we aren't who we are. That was very painful. And I was really worried about World Pride in DC on Sunday or Saturday. And I thought we're going to just see carnage. But in fact, it was just a beautiful celebration because he was so busy attacking immigrants in LA, he didn't have time for us. But that isn't very reassuring overall. I just feel like it was just a lucky thing this year that we were able to celebrate World Pride. So that's and when I say after us, it's any community. We're all one community. So.
Oh, Duncan, wow, that hit me too. When you said that, right? It's here now. It's not, it's not them over there, right? We're all in this, and it's happening now. And I'm so glad that you're here and that Jodie's here, and Brenda, I'm gonna have you jump in right now too, because I know that you've always got some really important things to say about why we're here and what's happening in the moment.
Yeah, I wanted to add like a little bit of something that's comforted me, like in starting January 20th, which is a day I will never forget. Like, got laid off on the day that Trump was installed, and that's day that I will never forget. But I joke to, people that know me really well, several of whom are here, that like I shouldn't even use my brain. I should just follow my inner guidance, because exactly a year ago, I cast my mind forward to what was going to happen in November, and none of us really knew. I mean, I had my hopes that are very different from the reality today, but I had my hopes. But I volunteer with the Women's National Book Association, and I said, we need to gather together like the week after the election. Whatever happens, we need to be together in unity And I said that, like, why don't we have it be poets? Because poets are like the truth tellers, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, all writers are, but like because of the poetic form, you can just get right to it with like the fewer words. And so we actually got together like a really cool group of poets. We wanted to be really diverse. And like we were fortunate to have two Native American poets, one whose name was granddaughter Crow, and then another who went by the name Wren, who was a two-spirit Native American poet, trans. And so we had like an incredible group, and so none of us could have predicted what was going to happen at the election, but I was so grateful that we had the poetry reading exactly a week after. And the Native American poets led off and they said, we've survived everything. We survived like the white man coming to here, coming to our land. We survived the Trail of Tears. We've survived, being, killed by the, by the American military. We've survived everything and we're still here. No matter what happens, we will outlast you. So, but together, in community, sticking together in community is how we will survive. We're here today in community. We will outlast them. We will survive.
Oh, Brenda, that's perfect. Ah, so beautiful. And I love that you also guided us right back to at least where Jodie and I had said we were hoping to start today, which is community, right? And so Jodie, I'm gonna turn it back over to you for a moment and just let's start with, I mean, that was really inspiring what Brenda just shared, right? And how do we all step up more? What are the next things we all need to be doing in community and as community?
I mean, obviously the first step, like if anybody has not, if you're at home alone, go find community. You know, whether that's online or whether that's your neighbors, there are ways to find, people in solidarity and community, um, and to work together for change in no matter what your capacity, your ability is. Um, and the next steps, honestly, is holding, I mean, for me at least, is holding the truth to a light, holding accountability to the light and like trying as much as we can to support every effort that pushes us forward. As much as like there has been so much in the way of library, attacks or attacks against our education and all of that. At the same time, people have stepped up to support financially. So if you can donate to Lambda or the ACLU or all these communities that are taking to the legal fights that are so important right now, or stepping up to like even just provide a listening ear for someone, bringing someone else into the community and making sure that they're not left alone, that they have the resources that they need to get through this. Um, I mean, there's so many ways. There's so many beautiful things that are happening um, in the face of all the terrible things. Um, you know, if like I specialize a lot like in teens. So, for example, the doors that are closing in like research and education issues,
Mhm.
uh all these universities are stepping up for ways that I just saw yesterday. For example, Canada is now offering, if you want to come, they have tuition-free scholarships, moving assistance, living stipends, ways to step around what's happening. And if we learn about those resources and share them, if we can provide financial assistance to any of those resources, those are two like huge ways that we can help.
I love Brenda's enthusiasm. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. And I love that you went to, you know, both ends of what we could see as a spectrum, right? Which is the donating, the financial assistant, and then one by one, just offering that listening ear and open heart, you know, that's so beautiful. Yeah. Duncan, what do you want to join in this part of it?
Sure. It's no coincidence that the day that this new president was inaugurated, Books That Save Lives came into being.
I
It
know.
was that exact day. It's a forum for fighting what's happening around us that I didn't expect to have. I felt so helpless up until that moment, until I realized, wait a minute, this is a chance for Brenda and I to do battle, to actually wage a literary war against this president and his hateful administration. And I hope there's nobody on here who's offended by me saying that, but that's how I feel. And it's so what I would encourage you to do is reach inside and think, what are my resources for this? Maybe it's money, maybe it's um, writing editorials. I don't know. Everyone has a skill that they can lend to furthering our cause, making allowing Pride to continue as it had for so many years. I was very lucky. I was born the year before Stonewall, I think, if that, yeah, and so I never knew a world where there hadn't already been a revolution. And this is the first backward step that I've really had to live through. That was, I mean, I shouldn't say that. There were a lot of difficult times in the 80s, but I just kept seeing progress and progress and progress. And among half the nation, we're still seeing that. And then there's this other half that really needs their minds opened. And so that's what Books That Save Lives should be doing.
And you know, I love that. I love that right away we're jumping into how important books are, right? Because, you know, I'm sitting here, I am holding, you know, Jodie's book, which I love. I love everything about. I mean, I wish you guys could see. It's just, it's chock full, and it's speaking to. I have a particular place in my heart for young people, right? Like I know this is a really hard time for so many of us, but when you think about this is where I just feel choked up too, right? You just think about young people, what they have been through, and then to have to face this, you know, on top of it. And so one of the things that I just always love to say, we talk about on almost every one of these panels, is I have a little free library, and I love to put books like this in the little free library because you don't know who might be passing by who really needs what's in it. And Jodie, I know your beautiful stack of books fell over, but to tell I mean, you tell us about what you did.
You're outing me. We were talking about another author that I saw this like sort of Pride rainbow stack challenge. So I was like, okay, can I somehow make this rainbow stack? Do I have it? And was shocked to find that like okay, I'll show you because it fell over. You can kind of see the top of the book stack here, and this is blue. So this is from
Yeah.
purple to blue, and it went up to the top of the screen. And I had so many, and that really made my heart full, to be honest, because I, not that I had this rainbow, but that there are that many books out there, sharing all of our experience. It's so important sharing our stories. I think, and that's one of the big ways too, that community for us and what we can do in this time, share your story. It's so powerful, personal stories. And what we do as writers, like sharing a published book, is just as important as you telling someone in your life. Probably, I would almost say it's more powerful because that personal connection and hearing how this all impacts you to someone that is so life-changing for some people. It's reversed courses for people. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, this really was a lot for me to know, like, okay, at a time when I was young and I could not find any books that showed who I was. Now there's a whole rainbow of our community out there, and we're not going to stop. We're going to keep, I know people who are stacking personal libraries of these books, and nobody's going to burn my books.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, Jodie, I love that. And I'm sorry I outed you in your book stack, but I couldn't help it. I feel like this is so important, right? And it's like what you're saying. It is books, and it's books like yours that are out there, and all the other ones that Books That Save Lives publishes. But like you're saying, it's also stories and sharing our stories. And I love that.
I
Yeah.
have a story to share.
Well, jump on in.
If you can wave around the queer cheer again,
I'm
which
happy to. I
which
love
Jodie is not only the co-author, but she designed the whole beautiful thing, that whole rainbow of a book in itself. But my story is that when in Florida, like the governor was started like making the campaign "Don't Say Gay," I just happened to be in a conversation with Jodie's co-author of Queer Cheer, Eric Rosswood, and we were talking about something completely other than that, marketing actually. And then I brought that up and I said, like, I was worried about, like, what about questioning and queer teens and tweens, like, if like the whole nation like follows this "Don't Say Gay" idea, they're going to be afraid to be themselves. They're going to feel scared, like literally scared about being who they are. And I said, why don't we do like sort of, rainbow affirmations book? And I just had like half of a thought, and then of course, Eric Rosswood and Jodie completed it beautifully. But that is a book that is a direct response to "Don't Say Gay." And I remember when we were developing the book, I said, we're going to not only keep saying gay, we're going to say it all day, like all the time. We're like, don't you tell us don't say gay. We're going to come right back at you, you know, you lame brain. And so that's, I feel like that is like the perfect model of what Duncan and I and like our little crew, including our authors and staff, can do. We can respond really directly.
I love that. Say gay all day.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And also, I just want to give a shout out to Eric, who wished he could be here, and unfortunately his schedule didn't allow for it. But yay for Eric as well, right? All the
Mm-hmm.
other authors, yeah. Oh, what are you showing us, Jodie?
This is Eric's other book, and he has like several. Actually, I should show you. Oh my gosh, it's in the stack. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
But he has the awesome book of, I'm butchering the
Queer
name.
Heroes.
What's that?
Awesome Book of Queer Heroes.
Yes, which celebrates like all these amazing queer people in our history that like have made strides, that is just phenomenal. So yeah.
He's gonna have his own rainbow stock like by the end of the month. Yeah.
Well, I'm loving all this, and I'm happy if Duncan and Jodie or Brenda have more to share. But I also want to invite anybody who wants to jump in if you have a question or a story or a comment. We'd love for these to be as interactive as you want it to be. You also, there's no pressure. So just go ahead. If there's a raise hand button at the bottom, or you can post in chat, or you could literally just wave. We have a nice intimate group. So oh, Charlene, I love your comment. Charlene says, I think we should not shy away from the word at all. Like, I'm feeling so joyful and gay today. I love it, Charlene. Yay. Anybody want to jump? Oh, I see Kim. Kim, I can't stand. I love your background so much. You should be able to unmute.
Okay. I just wanted to ask if maybe Jodie could read a thing or two from the book. Just, yeah, give us a little insight.
Thanks, Kim.
I'm happy to. Let me see, I'm gonna have to like find, would you like some affirmations, or we can read like a little like blurb about finding your space.
How about both?
Yeah. How about both?
Okay. We'll start with, finding your space. The queer community is let me get untongue-tied. The queer community is as diverse as the human race, and that's because queer people of every size, shape, color, ability, and origin are everywhere. And if you're looking to find a place to belong within the queer community, all you need to do is look around. From gaming to book clubs, there are a zillion combos of queer life filled with members of the community ready to geek out over shared interests. Try finding a group or activity, searching the internet, checking with your local LGBTQ centers, wandering through booths at pride festivals, or asking a queer friend. And if you can't find a local group, start one yourself or create one online. You can totally foster the queer community of your dreams. And let me see. I will find. Let me I know where I'm gonna go. Okay. I'm gonna read some of the activism section affirmations. I am determined to make positive changes for my community. Giving up is not an option. I surround myself with allies who share common goals. My efforts, both big and small, are important and valuable. I will not compromise my principles to please those who oppose me. And I am confident in my abilities and talents to improve the present state of the world.
Oh, that was perfect to read to us. I felt those, I felt it. Like, I feel I feel like, how when I was growing up, at least, we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. And I feel like, wouldn't it be wonderful if everyone in America could wake up
Affirmations. I would love that.
with your affirmations, right?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah. Kim, come on back in. Will it let you unmute?
Yeah,
All right.
sorry, just one more quick thing. I have a 24-year-old daughter who works at a psychiatric residential facility for kids. And I'm thinking about, she tells me sometimes, she can't tell me anything about the kids, but she tells me sometimes about the tweens and teens there that are queer and how everything they're going through is doubly difficult. So I think that I'll ask her if she thinks it's appropriate. I'll donate a couple of these books to the facility if she thinks, because they have a double struggle to the other kids. Yeah. I won't keep raising my hand. I could ask you about 30 questions, but I won't.
Just also stay unmuted. You're
No. But anyway, thank you, Jodie. Thanks for reading that. I'm going to tell her about this book. And if she thinks it's appropriate for the facility, I'll buy a couple and donate them.
Yeah, we've actually had, so like the Los Angeles LGBTQ Center and lots of centers around the world have actually adopted these or brought them for their teens. And then, they're in libraries all across, everywhere. And there's been several like workshops, and, we even have like workshop sheets that are in conjunction with the book. So it works really well in, environments, school environments, LGBTQ centers, things like that.
The only reason I'm going to ask her first and that it might not be appropriate is not the facility or the staff. It's some of the parents. Some of the parents that, you know what I mean? Because they, in this facility, they're welcomed and they're accepted for who they are. But that's not always the case when they go back home or the homes they came from, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But if they'll allow it, I'm going to do it. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Jodie. It's a beautiful book.
Thank you.
And Kim just brought up, obviously, like a really, really hard and moving place to look into. Jodie or Duncan or whoever, but let's start with you, Jodie. Like, so, like, what if we're around someone who is a parent, like Kim is referring to, right? Do you have any suggestions? Are there gentle ways we can say something?
Maybe stop watching Fox News.
I mean, I think leaning into looking at the actual research, staying away from the sort of like the rhetoric and the false like things that are out there, you know, if you can lean into like GLAD or the Trevor Project or Gleason, like they all have really great guidelines for things like this. Um, but they also have really great statistics on how you can affirm and help a teen in this way, and how doing that, you know, over and over, stories of these kids thriving and changing 180s, not only them, but even, you know, in a school environment where they've introduced like GSAs, or just, you know, having safe signage around the schools, that all the kids, like even non-queer kids, like have had less bullying, less you know, issues in general, and more investment in their school, and their, you know, everything across the board raises. So it's good for them overall to affirm, to support, to listen, you know, denying them you know, closing your eyes off to all of this doesn't do any good whatsoever. So I think just coming from a place of listening and just asking them to listen, you know, even if they just sit and listen to another teen, even if it's not their own, about how they have thrived from having acceptance, or how their environments have thrived. Um, there's a lot of like, you know, good advice. It's hard, especially if someone has like a religious standpoint, or, you know, something that is ingrained in them. But a lot of those things are just prejudices, or falsities that like they've sort of grew up with, that take time and conversations and guidance through, you know, presenting the information that will show them it's positive, to help, to, you know, provide this support.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to have Duncan, and then Charlene, I think, wanted to jump in. Duncan, what did you want to add?
Oh, just briefly, I guess I could say that in the workplace, I encountered a few people who had issues that, you know, around gay people, and I found that it was because they didn't know any, and they didn't know I was. So what I did was I put a photograph of me and my husband on my desk, and when they walked by, who's that? And I said, well, that's Raphael, my husband, you know, or at that time, my partner, because we couldn't get married. So I think that sometimes just starting the conversation in a simple, non-aggressive or confrontational way can actually open people's minds over time. Because I know I changed a few minds.
I bet. I love that. I love what you just said too, the non-confrontational piece, and just, you know, oh, this is my husband. And I'm sure when you said that, like, you know, they feel the love that you have, or the photograph shows it. It's beautiful. Hey, Charlene, it's so great to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you again. And hi, Brenda.
Hello.
Oh, Krishna. Everybody, this is great. I like to, as much as possible, like the windows behind me is like a symbol of just be open, you know, be open to everything, and building community. Do it everywhere. Every person you talk to in the grocery store, just really be a loving, friendly person, I think. And then as far as specifically fostering the idea of acceptance, I don't know if anybody, perhaps you can use this somehow. When I have visited a lot of hundreds of schools, I'm passionate about every person knowing they're valuable, no matter who they are, and so is everybody else. So I use polished stones to show everybody you're valuable, and everybody, kids, adults, love polished stones, and they come in all different shapes, colors, and sizes. And after I've read my book, I say, who feels valuable? Because everybody does that. And I say, but you know, sometimes everybody feels like a plain old rock. You sometimes feel you get kicked around. But when you're tumbled, and life does that, and you're polished inside you, look at the strength and beauty that everyone has. Who wants a rock? You know, and everybody, and I say, notice that. So they come in all different shapes, colors, and sizes. Where, like us, they're all beautiful and they're valuable. But you know, look closely also, and you'll see, oh, you see little, oh, look at, now I see little nicks and scratches. We're not perfect, but we're so strong and beautiful. So I don't know. I just think if we can foster that everywhere we can. Just love everybody, accept everybody. Oh, I don't know. Hopefully we have a little less up, Oh, I have one other thing that I hope, um, this, Brenda, that what you mentioned, the reaction, what happens sometimes with the pullback. I want to use this a lot, but it's like the bow, an arrow, and I'm hoping that this pullback at this time of rights and everything is in that pullback, the tension in that. When we're ready, we're going to launch something forward and we're going to surpass where we've been, especially if we don't do things with hate. We don't fight the hate. We use fierce love to stand up for what we're for. I'm believing in love, that's
Hey,
Oh my God.
Charlie.
Can I
okay.
jump in? Like, I'm crying.
Oh,
Me
Because
too.
like as a kid, I remember like this is my little rock collection. And it says on the bottle, we are all without our stories, we are all incomplete. And I'm just like, that is so. I'm ready to go buy like a whole like huge set of rocks. That is amazing. Oh,
um,
what a beautiful thing.
that
Mm.
oh, sorry, Charlene. Here, let me. You can unmute again if you want.
Um, I often carry rocks with me, so that if anything comes up and I can say to somebody, "Oh, would you like," or give them away. I don't know. The littlest things can make a difference.
Mm.
So yeah, get some rocks.
It inspired me to say, some of you know this, that I love to send letters to strangers. And so also, if anybody ever has anybody who's, needs some extra love, needs to know they matter, needs to know that they are 100% accepted as they are, I love to do that. And they just come anonymous from the universe. So my hope is then that young person or adult will look around and feel like the world loves them, so yeah, if anybody knows of anybody that you want a letter to go to, I'd love to do that.
That's really sweet. I've often we're doing our first Pride. I live in this like little kind of gated community, and they've never had a Pride picnic, and so we're doing our first Pride picnic this year. And we were talking about at it having stacks of postcards that we all fill out and send to different places that need a little bit of love, a little bit of encouragement.
Oh, Jodie, that's so beautiful. Right? Like these are the things that it's like, these are the news stories I want to be reading, right? Because we hear them and then it's like we get ideas and we get inspired by other things we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's actually I encourage everyone to even like go look up what youth are doing. Because year after year lately, um the things that they're going out and doing, I feel like like in complete awe of how they have this power to fight like things that are going on in their schools, or even going I know like there were some teens that went to like South by Southwest and did like a whole workshop there, like they're coming together and doing like these incredible things that are really beautiful and inspiring.
Yeah. Well, and Duncan, it's making me think of what you said about your book, right? And how you've written this book for young people. And while it may not be directly tied to Pride, what I'm also thinking, because when Jodie was just saying that, I was thinking like the word empowered, right? Like people need to be empowered. And I feel like your book could play a role in that, right? For young people.
Yes. And I actually left out a little detail, which is that the forward is my story, and I introduce myself as a gunkle. Um, Growing up as an only child, I assumed I would never be an uncle because I was not going to be getting married. I was gay, right? And gay marriage, who's ever heard of such a thing? And when I married Raphael, I discovered, to my amazement, that I was an uncle because somebody called me uncle. And I went, oh, I'm an uncle. So I put that in the book.
I love that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Because I want to be their avuncular, you know, gay uncle that helps them with money because their parents don't understand it very well. Just like you would, want a gay uncle to help you navigate pride, coming out and being proud of who you are.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's kind of a really great. I know you've got a lot on your plate right now too, but like I love that Uncle Duncan. Ask Uncle Duncan. It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
But I have to say too, like, in another organization where, I work with the teens with teaching different life skills, and finance is one of the big life skills they don't really get in school, and that's it's interesting. Like, it's actually like a big building step to, well, everything they want to do in life, but like being supported, especially if depending on whatever means you come from, is a huge, like, security and being able to go out in the world and make change. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I want to make sure we touch on today, since we're tossing out ideas of what we could do to help and who to send letters to and postcards to, and is I always, being originally from West Virginia, I always worry about like queer and questioning teens and tweens and in the rural states and the rural areas where they're probably so scared about like even talking about like what they're just probably really worried and nervous and high anxiety. And I one of the things that what I was sad that Books That Save Lives didn't get Unconditional, the which is like Talena Erickson's book about like parenting for LGBTQ parenting, and how ultimately just even if you don't understand like your gay son, like just love him unconditionally. Just unconditional love is the point of life. I actually think if you want to just get right down to it, what is life about? Unconditional love. But in any case, like she lives in a rural part of I think it's Ohio or anyway, and she donates like she donated her book and actually Queer Cheer and a lot of like Eric Rosswood's books to like the teen centers there. So what more can we do? What more can we do besides, um I just feel like if we can help the ones that are so lonely and feel isolated, that's really almost the most important thing we can do now when it's scarier than ever to be queer.
Yeah, Brenna, I'm so glad you brought that up. And I'm gonna give some silence right now to see if anybody else has something to offer around that, because I think that is so important. The rural areas, those, it's hard enough anywhere, but places like that.
And Macklin, not to make you uncomfortable or call you out, but I feel like you might have some ideas right there because you live in the beautiful state of Georgia.
Yeah, so I'll be quite honest. When I was in high school, I didn't really have a lot of a community of like the queer nature, you know. So in like the very small kind of area that I did, it was actually within our library. Because I had an amazing school librarian, Miss Sapinski. And she really helped make sure that I knew that there was going to be something after high school. Um, and she really helped me get into the college of really my dreams. A small liberal arts, historically women's college, that has a never-ending list of queer individuals of all colors of the rainbow, you know, like it's absolutely fantastic. I love my college. Um, but really just offering a support system, I think is probably like one of the most valuable things in letting people know that you are indeed a safe space, you know, whether that is like putting a little Progress Pride sticker in your office, or like the little sticker on your car that is the blue background with the yellow equal sign. I believe it's like the Human Rights Campaign.
Rights campaign.
And just making it known that even if you aren't a queer person, that you are still a resource for them, you know, and that like you are a safe space. I think is probably one of the most valuable things, because then that allows for young queer youth to know that they can be their authentic selves around you, that they can kind of let down their guard. And I think that's probably like one of the most important things. So
Macklin, that was fantastic. I'm glad Brenda put you on the spot.
I
mean, I love
even if she makes me stumble over my words, how dare you, Brenda?
you were so articulate. And I love that one, just, I mean, there were many, many great things you said. That one thing where I was like, I don't have that sticker on my car, right? Like
Mhm.
that simple thing. I love that. I love that. Yeah. And I love your librarian.
Oh, she's absolutely fantastic. So
I want to write her a letter. I'll touch base with you later. I love that.
we'll do.
There's really like beautiful pens you can get, or even like the safety pin, although I don't know if it's as widely recognized, but there's pins that say like "you are safe with me," that are really like sweet if you wear, just to know.
I love that. And it's making me think, when I was in Austin recently, a lot of the stores had big signs on the front, rainbow, everyone welcome. We welcome everyone, like that. And it was made me think, like, to make sure that again, I love to write letters, send a letter to those. Thank you. Thank you for that sign on the front of your door. Thank you. Like, to really support the people who are supporting too, so that they know that it makes a difference.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the librarian, like librarians are angels on earth.
Yes.
Like, any way that we can support, especially right now they're under attack. Like if you can, look up the American Library Association and different like library, even just supporting your local library because their fundings are being cut. Any way you can support, that's such a traditionally safe space for queer teens over and over. Um, Especially like in red states and things like that. So that is a huge way to be able to help youth right now.
Remember a year ago you were signing the books, right?
Hmm.
At ALA, American Library Association. That helps so much, like getting it into the hands of librarians where they purchased it. And
You can become a supporting ALA member, actually. I am. I love keeping up on their news. You get their newsletter, and you can find out, they report on, what they're doing and how they're fighting, and anyway, like even if it's just spreading the word on what they're doing, even if you can't like support financially, that's free information and books is a huge cornerstone of our society, not just for queer teens, but for all of us. So like that is a huge way that anyone can step in and volunteer, and do anything that you can.
Yeah. What a great reminder, Jodie. I love that. I love that. When you said free information, in my head, I thought true information too, like
Yeah.
how wonderful.
this is a little moment where I can boast something proudly, which is the Books That Save Lives. Jim Dandy is a queer majority publisher, and Krishna and I are the proud allies. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think we'll only get queerer as time goes on. And we'll have to find a way to make it clear that our publishing house is a safe space for ideas and writers and even people that just want help.
I love that. That was beautifully said, Brenda, right? Like, oh, yeah. I'm so proud to be here in guys. Really am.
That is like, I mean, when you did the podcast and you were talking about, your imprint, like, I'm also part of Authors Against Book Bans, and we sent a letter to like all the publishers, telling them, please, we still need to publish queer books. Don't back down. Don't, so it's so important that we have publishers out there and people who are still supporting putting these stories, because like I said earlier, our stories, these personal stories, such a huge part of making sure that we continue to fight for like having our rights in our community. And so publishers are so important, and to have one that's focusing on all the beautiful things in the world. Like, thank you.
Anybody else want to jump in? Again, no pressure, but if anybody who hasn't spoken wants to share a comment or thought, we welcome it.
I'll ask for some help and how to refine this idea. My to-do list, which looks like it was Psycho wrote it, but like a lot of stuff is crossed off. Don't be scared. But like one of the things, floating ideas I have on it is like a TikTok like and it was specifically actually for the queer books. And in my mind, it was jokingly like Gay of the Day, where they're like, where like we tell the story of like a queer hero, or like it doesn't have to be a hero. It could be like, somebody who's doing important work in the community, or an author, or just anyone. And I think it's a really good idea, but like aside from like just having the good idea, I sort of don't know how to like get it out of my head and out into the world. But like, for example, like and I actually even talked to my husband about it, and like we were driving on our way to get Pete's Coffee last Saturday, and I said, I'm not quite sure how to do it. Maybe it's just me. And I like get on there and say, we would all be goose stepping and speaking German if it wasn't for Alan Turing, and then talk about like the life of Alan Turing, and like then other like major queer heroes. But I just keep thinking it shouldn't be me. Like, I mean, but I want it to happen. So if it has to be me, I'll do it. But like, I'm just throwing that out there.
I love that, Brenda. What an amazing idea. And of course, you could do it and do it really well, but I do think that to-do list of yours is already probably long enough. I feel like just you putting it out to us, and then all of us kind of keeping an ear out, an eye out, who's in our community that might be the person to do that. I think it's a fantastic idea. Yeah. And oftentimes, the opposite of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Sometimes what happens in the heart wisdom, goes out to the whole world. So, right.
Well, that's how Books That Save Lives was born, actually, the first birth of it, right?
It was exactly right.
Yeah.
And
My mind is turning. I'm thinking like how wonderful it would be to like add in like modern heroes in a way, like I know of so many teens that are like doing these incredible things that I'm blown away by, or just like somebody in the community that goes to their chamber of commerce or their community meetings, and they're standing up and making a difference, like your local heroes, in addition
Right,
to, like,
absolutely. All heroes,
yeah,
like, yeah, of every era, including most importantly now.
yeah.
Oh, and I can almost, I don't know if you said this or if that is mine, but I was thinking, I mean, wouldn't it be fabulous to have a young person who wants to belong more, who wants to make a difference? Like, what an amazing project this would be. Someone.
It could become like an archiving too, because like some of the people like Jodie is talking about, they're standing up like in their community service, you know, or ways that like only the local community knows, but like if they're on like this TikTok or whatever it becomes, then they are archived in the annals of queer heroism.
I have like a fabulous book that blows me away. Because I mean, you mentioned Alan Turing.
Mhm.
This book is literally a whole set of people in World War II who are queer heroes that you never heard of. And
Oh,
it's so fascinating, like how, well, and fascinating is not even the right word, horrific, honestly. But like, mind-boggling how we never heard of these people.
Mhm.
And yet, like, they did these incredible things. And this one person's totally, my mind is blanking on his name, but I know someone who saved almost like 3,000 people in Amsterdam. He was an artist who was making like fake IDs and, doing this whole thing. And he blew up a local, what do you call it? A ID center so that they couldn't go out and find people. And it was, my mind was blown, like I'd never heard of this. There's
What's
so
the name of this book?
incredible queer heroes out there that just were forgotten or buried.
Mhm.
wow. If, I mean, hopefully a lot will come from this conversation, but if that's the only thing that came from this is this TikTok, right? Like I'm thinking, especially as a lot of things are being erased, right? That
Yes.
to have an active, and that's what you were saying, Brenda, right? An active archival, an active celebration. I'm
Mhm.
excited just to be in this conversation right now. And Macklin, I'm looking at you too, because I know you know a lot of amazing young people who might maybe be right for this.
Yes, definitely. So, Brenda, we'll have to have a sidebar. So,
Coffee. Mhm.
We still have about 3 minutes. I want to come back to you, Duncan, for a moment and just see if there's anything that has been top of your mind that you feel like we haven't touched on that might be important. And no pressure if you don't, but just want to check in with you.
Pressure.
Oh no, no pressure. We're
Um, well, I mean, it's been a really amazing session. I guess I would just summarize by saying that I just heard a lot of really exciting ways to be proud, that I hadn't necessarily thought of. I get a little, I'm home a lot because I'm working from home, so I'm not out in the community as much as I used to be. And I did want to ask Jodie if I could find out more about that picnic, because I live in Los Angeles. So,
Oh, yes, you're more than welcome.
okay, well, we'll talk later.
oh, I love that. Yeah. And thanks, Duncan. Yeah, it's been wonderful to have you and Jody here and to hear from everyone. Um, I think too, just as we close out the circle, I just feel so grateful. Just simply being here with all of you and being in this conversation, it gives me hope. Like, there are so many other people just like us, right? Who just, and back to, wait, I might have to read Jody's words again because I just love this. Where'd it go? Everywhere we see oppression and hate, there are folks standing with outstretched arms to welcome others and fight together for a better world, right? And I really do believe that those folks with outstretched arms are the majority. I really do. And the fact that you would all show up and be here today and like come with like an open heart and willingness to hear things, and like Duncan said, I heard so many things that I'm just like, oh, that's so great, and who can I tell that to? After we get off here, who can we tell this to? Who can we share this with? We'll have the replay available. I'm thinking, who can I send this to? Right. So other people can also not only feel this hope and inspiration, but hopefully implement some of these things. So I thank you so much, all of you, for being here. And a special thank you to Books That Save Lives, and to Jody for being here, and to our other authors that are here, and our guests are here, and to anybody watching in the future. We can do this together. We can. Yay.
Thank you,
Yay.
Sherry.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherry.
All right, keep an eye out for our next Heart Wisdom. We'll be back.
Happy Pride.
Happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride.
Woo! Bye, everyone.
Bye.